Hey, hey, welcome back to Stage Savvy Speakers. I'm your host, April Young. I'm the creator of Stage Savvy Speakers and the coach, host, and producer of the Confidence Catalyst Speaker Series. Every week, I write a brand new article for my website to help you learn how to take your personal experiences and turn them into an amazing speech or presentation or just to get them off your chest. And I am taking all those blog posts and making them into videos as well. So, welcome to this week's video on the power of personal storytelling. I'm so excited to share this one with you guys today. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. I'm so glad to see you again. Telling our stories is one of the most powerful ways that we have to connect with other people. Now, I remember the first time, and honestly, even the most recent time, when I stood on the stage to share a portion of my own story. I was, a little shaky because emotion can do that to us. Hands were a little trembly, and, I felt my heart rate speed up a little bit, and that tiny little voice inside my head that asks you those annoying questions like, does anyone care what I'm about to say? Or will it even matter? And yes, I do get that voice as well. But as I told that little voice to be quiet and just go sit in the corner and wait it out, I began to speak, and that's when the magic started to happen. I noticed heads nodding in the audience, and I heard little chuckles as people related to what I was saying. And I felt that energy of connection with my audience, and once again realized the profound power of personal storytelling. Now, stories are the threads that really weave us together. Stories have been around for millennia. They are pictures on cave walls, they are scribbles on rocks and on tablets and engravings in stone. These stories carry lessons, emotion, history, records from one generation to the next, even literal survival guides. And this is how humanity gets carried on through time, from each generation onto the next generation. Stories are how we preserve those records. Today, as speakers and storytellers, we continue that tradition. When we step onto a stage, whether a literal stage or a metaphorical one, we invite other people into our lives. We offer them a glimpse of who we are and what we stand for. And we also offer them hope and the chance to see a new perspective on some of their own experiences. Now, I meet people all the time who are hesitant to share their stories because they believe they aren't big enough, bad enough, bold enough to matter. And first of all, that's complete BS. I'm here to tell you that your story does matter. One recent conversation I had with a prospective client led to her having a really deep realization about an experience that she had had and guilt that she had been carrying around for that experience for at least 20 years. Through sharing this experience with me, I was able to help her take a new perspective on that experience, and she realized that she no longer needed to carry that guilt. And we cried together. I normally am very good at compartmentalizing emotions, but once in a while, you guys will share something with me that it just hits. And that is why I do this, because in that moment we connected, and I gave her permission to release that guilt through owning that story and speaking it out loud. And she left that call much different than she entered it. I was so, so happy to be there to listen to her experience and for her to share her passions with me and the reason why she now does what she does. This is the power of storytelling, of telling the stories of who we are. They don't have to be grand and these big, impactful moments that were, completely life-changing. Sometimes it's those tiny moments, those little ones that shape us, a lesson we learned, a challenge we overcame, a heartbreak that we went through. Sometimes even a positive experience, an act of kindness, or an encounter with someone. Oftentimes, these are the moments that resonate the most with our audiences. When we share these stories, we create connection that transcend our backgrounds, our cultures, our entire experience, and it brings our humanity together. Now, when I craft a story, I always begin by deciding what message I want to convey. Am I conveying a message of overcoming adversity? Am I conveying the message of being bold enough to be who you are and to stand in that moment? Or something else? What is at the heart of the lesson I want to leave with my audience? Now, for me, one of the most powerful lessons has been resilience. I will often talk about the challenges I faced in my 20s, navigating single parenthood while balancing work and dreams of a brighter future, loving an addict through addiction and incarceration and recovery, and all of these things. Now, it was not easy. There were days where I felt like I was completely letting everyone down and falling apart. But those struggles, those moments taught me the perseverance, determination, and the importance of leaning into those experiences is what can get us and others through. Now, once I have my idea for the key takeaway of my message, I'll dig into my experiences. Imagine, if you will, for a moment, you have this big box of toys. Think back to being a child and you had this giant box of toys and you're just digging through it, throwing things out, looking for the one that you want. I like to think of it that way. I have my big box of experiences and I'm constantly adding things to it and throwing more things in that box. And then when it's time to build a speech, I'll dig through the box and find the things that I think I want. As I do that, I reflect on some of these pivotal moments in my life. Times I felt like giving up, times I felt like I wasn't good enough, or maybe even the people who inspired me to keep going, even when I felt like I couldn't. Sometimes I'll look for lessons in those quiet, everyday experiences that simply shape who we are. The joy of watching our children make friendship bracelets, or, their creativity in coming up with things, or my son building Legos when he was a little guy. His attention to detail reminding me to just acknowledge the small things. These stories hold universal themes and truths that many people can relate to. Now, as I share my stories, I always try to engage the audience's emotions because speaking should be a full sensory experience. Stories are not just told, and they shouldn't just be told, they should be felt. Audiences will not remember the words you say. They won't. They won't remember anything you say unless it's very profound, and maybe you printed it somewhere where they have another way to remember it. But they will remember the way that they felt when you said those words. Think about that. They'll remember the feelings that they had. Now, I want my listeners to see the world that I saw in the experience that I'm sharing. I want them to feel the weight of the struggle or of the moment and celebrate the triumphs that I might be sharing with them. I want them to be right there as if they're going back in time with me and we're experiencing it together. The sounds of laughter, the smells of fresh rain, or the warmth of, a hug or a hand on your shoulder. Those details are what make your stories vivid and memorable. And I also need you to remember that storytelling is not just about you as the storyteller. It is about the audience. This is a group experience here. Now, another question I will ask myself is, how does this story serve those that will hear or read it? My goal is always to inspire, empower, spark reflection, or cause an action. When I tell my stories of resilience, I hope that my listeners will leave feeling just a little bit braver in facing their own challenges, that they might finally realize that they are strong enough to get through whatever it is that they may be going through. Or maybe they're finally realizing all the amazing skills and traits and things that they picked up along the way going through their own struggles. When I share my lessons, my stories in connection, I hope that my audience is reminded of the importance of their relationships and all of these experiences in their lives. But the real magic of storytelling lies in its ability to truly inspire action. Now, I'll never forget the people who have approached me after a speech to say that my story either inspired them or made them feel a certain way, because that's the goal. Moments like these always remind me that our stories, they're not just ours. They belong to the people who need to hear them. It's our obligation to share our story as a gift with those that need to hear it. We have to do it. It's our responsibility. If you've ever doubted whether your story matters, let me assure you that it does. Your experiences, lessons, earned wisdom, and moments of vulnerability that have the power to connect and inspire and empower you and others. The stage is waiting for you, and your audience is eager to listen. I know you're probably wondering, no, does anybody want to hear what I have to say? They do. They're eager and waiting to hear it. I hope that as we continue on through this year and for years to come, that you will make a commitment to start sharing your story. Now, whether you're a business owner or professional or an employee or something else, I hope that you will learn the importance of bringing your personal story to the forefront of what you do. If you're a business owner, your business story is your personal story, and your personal story is your business story. If you're an entrepreneur, there are things in your lives that have led you to where you are. So don't be afraid to include them. Don't be afraid. As you make that commitment to continue sharing your story, it can feel a little scary. So start small. Start by sharing little pieces of that story with a trusted friend or a group of friends, or in a journal. Write it down. If you are so inclined and ready to really dig deep, you can book a session with me. I would love to help you learn how to dig deep and find those moments that you can really make a story out of. Reflect on those things that have shaped you, and you can find the courage to finally let your voice be heard. Remember, your story is uniquely yours, but its lessons are universal. If you're ready to craft and draft your story, I would love to work with you. Click the link in the comments to reach out to me directly or visit my website at www.stagesavvyspeakers.com. You can also find me on social media under the handle Stage Savvy Speakers. I would love to hear from you. I would love to have you book a free call, and let's see if we should work together to get that story out for you. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you then.